Have you had any caffeine this morning?
Oh, we are going live.
Oh, hello. Wait, you forgot to tell me you were pushing that button. So, hello, everybody. So, welcome for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we are talking about stress from the holidays. And so, this is now the first Monday in December of 2020. And this holiday season is not like any other before. So if you're feeling lonely or frustrated or overwhelmed by the whole situation, we're so happy that you could be here with us today. I'm Holly Pitas, an emotion code certified practitioner, with my friend Amber, who is going to tell you a little bit about herself too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Salenbier of Not Sunside Within, and I'm also a certified emotion code practitioner as well as a body code practitioner. And, as Holly said, we are entering into this new realm of seasons with all of the stuff that is going on in the world. And not only that, but things going on in your own family. Holidays, it's to be a season of excitement, a season of giving and love and compassion and all of those things. But what if we've gone through stuff in our childhood, in our upbringing, as an adult, that sort of taints that picture of what the holidays mean? And so we might be carrying emotions of anxiousness, worry, frustration, disappointment, all of that when the holidays are getting closer, we can feel that tightness, that feelings of anxious towards the holiday season. And what we want to do today is to help you clear some of that, at least a layer of some of that stuff that is coming up around the holidays, so that you can go into it feeling a little lighter, maybe a little bit more at peace.
Yes, and thank you again. So today is episode 21. So we have been doing this for 21 episodes, meeting weekly together. And, so Amber, you were talking about, childhood stress and traumas. I mean, people drink too much and fight too much, and, big things happen at holiday time in many families. But then there's also the other side of it, like just the performance level that's expected of having the perfect tree or the perfect meal, the perfect children. And then for this year, there's also many families that are having to celebrate when someone died this year and they were not able to be at their bedside, couldn't have a funeral, couldn't talk to them, couldn't see them. So this is really a tremendous year of loss. For people that are in the United States, with our recent election, there's a tremendous amount of anger from one side to the other side. And there are friendships that are being broken over it. There's family problems that are happening. People won't talk to each other because they are believing a different set of beliefs. So it's just difficult. People are losing their jobs, people are closing their businesses. And so there's actually a phenomenal amount of suffering that's happening. And so if we can in any way relieve some of the pressure of these emotions that are building on you or have been stuck inside of you, we're happy to do that. So if you can volunteer, do definitely say hello. Even if you're not volunteering, say hello to us, because we love knowing that you're with us. And so just give us your name, tell us what your problem is, and then give us a severity level. So we want to know from 1 to 10, how much is this bothering you? And so you might be crying a lot. You might be unable to sleep. You might just be mad. You might be overwhelmed. You don't know which way to turn. And so a lot of this is a reaction to a very real situation that's happening in your life and in our combined lives. But at the same time, it's just your emotions that are building up, kind of like a pressure cooker, the old-fashioned pressure cooker, that if you didn't have it regulated properly, it was going to blow up. And so what we are able to do through the emotion code and Amber with the body code is relieve that pressure before you blow. And blowing might be anger, it might be smashing something or walking out on a relationship that's actually perfectly good for you. Or it could be something like, blowing your blood pressure out of proportion, getting sick, getting headaches, stomach aches, body pains. It just happens. So
Addictions could kick in, so you could be drinking more or eating more or any of that stuff. We've also got lockdowns happening, so even people who are excited, maybe they haven't gone through somebody who passed, or they haven't lost their jobs, but now they can't celebrate in the expectations that we have set, right? This is what my Christmas used to look like. And now with lockdowns, people can't spend the time with their families. People are in lockdown, and, people are alone, and it's not a happy time, and so we definitely want to help you to clear some of that stuff that is coming up, that is bubbling up, so that, like I said, we can at least have a little sense of peace, if not lightness, while some of that stuff gets cleared. So what is this craziness? We are both certified emotion code practitioners, and we went through the training of Dr. Bradley Nelson, that he came up with this modality as a holistic chiropractor to really identify emotions and release them that get stuck within our energy fields. And it's crazy how accurate it can be of the stuff that comes up and the stuff that we find. I mean, even the stuff that we can't remember anymore, your subconscious knows all about it, and it knows that, I mean, maybe at age 5, you got scared by Santa Claus, or whatever that looks like for you, right? And that emotion is now stuck within your body, and it, every time Christmas comes up, that fear might come up, or whatever. And I'm just trying to make light of the situation, because I have my own kids, so I've gone through it's more of at the age of 2, when they see Santa for the first time, and it's, they, or younger, where they get scared. But those emotions, if we don't allow them to process and help them release those emotions, they get trapped within the body, and they could have a lifetime of having that stuff come up and get triggered every time the season comes up. Just as an example, we've got some visitors on my side. Eva is visiting. She says, definitely childhood and upbringing. Christmases were awful. Anna is joining. Hello, feeling unworthy of holidays. Family stressing and taking out on husband and kids. Absolutely. Because now we're stuck in, we treat the ones around us, with that comfort of safety, but they're also they're the ones that trigger us the most. And now you're in a lockdown position, right? So now you're spending even more time as a family unit, which is great, but you don't have that moments to just go and be, right? Mm-hmm. When you're spending 24 hours a day with somebody, you don't have that chance to just leave that situation and just, take control of yourself and just be. We forget what our coping techniques are, and all of this other stuff with all of everything else is going on. We forget about those moments. And saying, oh my goodness, I was always afraid of Santa and Disney characters.
Yeah, some of the, that's how are you doing now, Anne? Are you still afraid of them, or is this just sort of a fond memory for you? But yeah, some of those, there's always the people too who are afraid of clowns, but yeah, it's a lot of intimidating experiences that you can have as a child, and especially because your parents are so pushy about, you got to sit on his lap, you got to get your picture taken, you're all dressed up, your mother's probably got her undies in a bundle about getting the perfect picture. You're always on a time crunch, and it's just a scary thing. Santa's
It
kind of
is. And
like,
now it's even different now because, first you have to book an appointment so even to go see the mall Santa or whatever, you have to book an appointment and then everybody has to wear a mask and then you have to stand on the other side of that glass screen and,
mhm.
at least here. And so you have that little bit of reprieve because there's this glass screen and, to take that picture. But, now everybody is masked up and you can't go near each other. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a
I
different
do.
world, that's for sure.
That is for sure. I do hear that some people are taking pictures of their kids and then putting like a Photoshop backdrop of Santa or something behind them. So it might just have to do for this year. But another thing that people have issues with is that towards the end of the year, then you also start thinking about New Year's Eve, and am I going to have a date for New Year's Eve? Well, can anybody even go out this year? But then this is also a time when some loneliness from former flames comes up. The person that, for whatever reason you broke up, and sometimes it could have been, you know, you're in your 70s and you're thinking about your high school sweetheart, and it's like, well, all that could have been, or what have you. And so people get a little nostalgic, and those can just bring up a whole lot of feelings. So I do want to say hello on my end. We have a Shoban Rushy from Ireland. So hello, Shoban. I hope everything is beautiful and green in Ireland. That is how I think of it, as a lush Garden of Eden. And then Lauren Thompson. So hello, Lauren. Thank you for joining us again today. And if there's anything that I can do on my end for you, I would love to have you volunteer. Otherwise, I will volunteer for the people that are visiting on Amber's side.
Yes, if you would like to volunteer for us to work on you, please drop it in the comments. What it is that is coming up for you around the holidays, what kind of emotion. I usually say it's like an iceberg, right? So let's say you're feeling sadness, for example. There's sadness coming up for you. I think of it like an iceberg, and it's really hard to use your hands as an iceberg, but just go with me here. So you've got this iceberg here, and this is sadness. This is what you're feeling, but we don't think of everything underneath the iceberg, underneath the water, right? That is also coming up. So while we may think, oh, this is iceberg, what it could be is, heartache, vulnerability, disappointment, panic, jealousy, all of that stuff that is underneath that iceberg. And so what we want to do is to tap into that subconscious and release some of that stuff so that, what might be sadness, all of this stuff can just kind of go into the background and not be at the forefront anymore. So Eva is saying, yes, please, sadness, anxiety, fear, and dread. So Eva, what is the most prominent emotion that is coming up for you? Because all of that stuff will probably come up as well. But if you could pick a word to describe all of that, what would that word be?
That, and also if I could contribute, how are those manifesting in terms of a symptom? Is that something that you're feeling your heart beating quickly, or you're just feeling like you're really rushed, or you're not sleeping? How is it actually presenting? Because so often too, when you were talking about the iceberg, which is a really great analogy, and you might be saying sadness, but what's happening is that you have all of these other things that are contributing. And the way it actually shows up on the tip is that you've got a headache, or that earache that comes back, or a cough that happens. And it's just, and then you panic because you think, oh my God, these are all COVID symptoms. And so it's just, and then it just snowballs. And so that can be incredibly frustrating. And then you're so worried about all of that, then everything else that you're supposed to be doing or performing doesn't happen. So, hard to do well with your kids or your job when you didn't sleep at all or very well last night, or you're trying to operate with having a migraine, or your back is hurting again, or maybe you have a job where you have to stand a lot and now your feet hurt. And yeah, it's difficult. So being able to relieve these things with the emotion code, and it's just amazing when particularly with the pain, it's a very obvious. You have the pain and now you don't have the pain. But with some of those other feelings of just like being overwhelmed, or maybe being so overwhelmed that you're actually not doing anything. So you think I've got 100 things to do, and all you do is worry about the 100 things and you don't actually even do one. And it gets to the end of the day and you're thinking, well, I could have gotten 10 things done, but I didn't. And so then this procrastination just sort of builds onto more and more thinking about what I should do, but not actually getting it done. So, so that is not as simple to see with the emotion code, but
Not
I,
right away, not right away, but it does come. I mean, I know in my life has changed dramatically by using the emotion code. It's not when things that, like procrastination and all that, it's usually a couple of days before you start noticing that, hey, I want to, put away the laundry, or, do this. But pain, I know pain is instant, that you can feel that relief instant. So don't cut yourself short that you're thinking, oh, it didn't work. Give it a couple of days and see if you're aware of the changes, for sure.
yeah. And sometimes if it is the putting away the laundry or the dishes, or, paying your bills or what have you, sometimes rather than dreading it and continuing to put it off, you just do it and you think, oh, well, that was pretty easy, actually. I don't know why I put that off. Let me see what else I can do. And so then in retrospect, you can look back and think, wow, well, you know, I didn't put my laundry away for 3 months. And now I did laundry 4 times this week and I've got it all put away and, put in the drawers. And then while I was in there, I decided to rearrange my drawers. Oh, and then I thought, well, now my shoes in my closet need rearranging. And it just seems to, again, snowball in a really positive way. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so far on my end, I'm not getting any volunteers. I don't know if you've got well, you had Eva volunteer for
Eva
you.
says it's a whole mix. My mother used to get very drunk every Christmas and cried as my sister died when I was 1. She also lost her family in the Second World War, so she was in a lot of pain when she was drunk. She was verbally and physically abusive. So she feels it in her heart area. We also have Savannah says overwhelmed, stuck without progress, relationship anxiety, sinus issues, and weight gain. Emotions are at, a core of a lot of those things, at least. But what happens? So what happens when we get anger, right? Maybe I use the expression of somebody cutting us off because it's a great analogy, but when somebody cuts us off, we're the ones who get triggered, right? That person doesn't care that they cut us off. Chances are they probably don't realize how close they came. We're the ones with those emotions, right? And usually we tend to blame. Well, it's, you did this, you did that. But what are the emotions that are coming up with inside of us? So maybe it's anger. The first emotion is anger. Well, anger comes from your liver and your gallbladder. So it's going to get released from that. They create it, it gets released. And if we feel into that angry and we're like, oh, I feel really angry right now, and let it all out, it's going to process and release. And great, it's no longer in our system. However, we don't do that. We suppress, we move on, we do these things. Now it's either traveling into, maybe our heart space, maybe our shoulder, maybe wherever, or it's sticking with the liver and the gallbladder. So now you've got, emotion after emotion after emotion traveling all over your body. And these aren't like little things, these are big things, and you could have hundreds of them. So now you're feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, procrastination comes in because of all of this stuff blocking you to move forward. So a lady by the name of Kat is volunteering. She says, hello, I'm ready. I feel disappointed, lost, less important than the rest, stressed. So for all of you guys who are volunteering, I think it's fantastic. But if you could pick just one thing that we can work on, we're going to work on that one thing, rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And if it is something that you can identify, such as procrastination, that's great. If not, then tell us the emotion and we'll go into, feelings of, say, disappointed, and clear whatever is coming up underneath that iceberg. So, if the sensation is disappointed, we clear all of this stuff. so that that sensation or that severity level comes down. So we would love to work on you. Just so Eva's saying anxiety. So if you want to take anxiety, Holly, for Eva.
Eva. All right. Eva. All right. I'm going to connect with Eva while you keep talking.
Keep talking. I can talk all the time. I'm such a talker.
Well, and the other thing is that, Amber, you have a lot of experience with doing, the different shows and stuff. And so you're comfortable about it. But then there's just, this is not just a quick little thing. What we're doing today is a quick little thing. But there, again, this in another form is, again, just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much to this. And when you think about how intricate all of your feelings and your emotions and you are in an experience now at your life where, so maybe you're 40, but it's triggering something that happened when you were 4 that had been triggered multiple times throughout your life. And it's huge. So, okay. So Eva, I'm going to work on you with your anxiety and sort of anxiety related to Christmas. And if you could just let Amber know maybe a level, but I will sort of whisper to myself here and then come back to you. That's okay. All right. So
Savannah and Ka, if you want to volunteer as well, just let us know, one thing that we can work on for you today so that we can, release the emotions that may be contributing to it. Eva is saying 8, Holly. So what happens in an emotion code session? First, we connect to you. So Holly and I are in 2 different locations. She's in Wisconsin. I'm here in Ontario, Canada. You guys are all over the world. We've had people come in from Ireland, from Scotland, from England, from India, from Australia, from here in Canada, from the US. And we're all connected. Whether we want to be consciously aware that we are all connected, we are all connected. And so it's kind of similar to how cell phones work over frequency. We can tap into your energy with permission, of course, because I wouldn't enter your house without permission. I'm certainly not going to enter your energy field. And so we get permission from everyone that we work on. And we don't have to do it face to face. We could do it over, I do a lot of my sessions over Zoom. I do a lot of my sessions over email or text messages or however is most convenient for you. I mean, right here, you guys are typing into your, into the chat box, and we're not really connected except through us reading the chat boxes. And the only person I can see is myself and Holly. And so we use something called muscle testing or applied kinesiology to tap into, your energy fields. And we ask your subconscious really questions as to what your conscious mind is saying. So if your conscious mind is saying, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling this, we go in and we say, okay, if this is here, what is all of this? And your subconscious knows, it knows everything. It's the mega computer of your life, and we don't access it nearly enough, right? If our conscious mind is running at 1%, the subconscious is running at 99% of the time. It runs on automatic. It listens to your thoughts. It takes those thoughts. It changes your cells. It changes your thought patterns. It's whatever you believe in and you keep telling yourself that keeps that from continuing. So we've got Kat is saying 8. So we'll do disappointed for Kat at 8, and Savannah is saying relationship insecurity, and she is ready. All right, so I will connect to Ka, and hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. If I'm not, then please let me know, because there's nothing worse than pronouncing somebody's name incorrectly. But I go in and connect to that using applied kinesiology. So this is yes, and this is no. And your body stays strong on a yes when things are congruent and in truth to who you are. All of your muscles lock and stay strong at yes. And when you're not incongruent to your truth, or you're not what you're saying is not true, your muscles actually weaken, all of them. It's how lie detectors, work. That's very small glitch per se, or that very subtle little thing that happens that is noticeable. And if you can learn how to muscle test yourself, you can muscle test on food, you can muscle test on supplements. Your body doesn't lie. So you can ask it, you can't tell the future of it. You can't say, okay, so, is that boy over there going to like me? We all have free will, right? So even if this exact second it says yes, this second it could say, you know what I mean? Like, because we've made a different choice or made something different, the future is kind of, because we have free will, it's kind of not as so, but we can do things of the past, right? Access that inherited stuff, access those past life stuff, all of that stuff, our childhood, all of that stuff is within us. How are you doing over there, Holly?
I'm doing great. So I've already disconnected from Eva. So Eva, what I found with you were some feelings of, some built up emotions of anger and some indecisiveness and a little bit of confusion and defensiveness. And so I released also some creative insecurity for you. So I hope that your general feeling about the holidays and the situation that you're in will become a little bit more relaxed, that you can actually, just sort of take a breath and feel like, okay, I can be on top of this. So I certainly hope that you are feeling better. If you can put something in, some people feel something during the actual session, some people feel nothing. Sometimes you can feel sort of tingly, or you get hot, or some people start to cry, some people start laughing. It can really be any emotion, because we're dealing with your emotions, and so you just never really know how it's going to present itself. Sometimes people have some processing time that it might take a day or two where you're feeling a little bit more tired, or possibly even sleeping really deeply. It could be anything. So just let us know how you're feeling. And actually, for everybody that's viewing, we love it when you can come back again next week and let us know how your week has been and how has this made a difference in your life. What kinds of things are you noticing? And it's really a great testament to the benefit and then the beauty of the emotion code system. So we really enjoy being able to be in contact with you during our live shows. We love doing the shows. It's a lot of fun for us, and it's also hopefully fun for you. So we really enjoy that you're here with us. And Amber, you had made another point. I know she's concentrating. But I think that also there's just so many benefits to the emotion code that it's really a great thing. And okay, I'm just keeping an eye on Amber here, and she's still concentrating pretty deeply.
I'm listening.
Oh yeah, I know you're listening, but I know you're really concentrating a lot. So yeah, so again, just thinking about the emotion code system and what a benefit it can be for people. So we're just really happy to have you here, and hoping that your holidays are going to go well, and that I think everybody, I think the world as a whole is just got our fingers crossed that once we cross over that threshold of January 31st into the first of the new year, that, sort of suddenly things are going to be different. But I know actually, Amber, you were talking a little bit about, is this almost like a fortune telling kind of thing? And it's not. What we're working on are emotions that you have experienced in the past, and for whatever reason it's being held in your system, whether that's actually your physical body or just sort of the general energy that you have around you. When you walk into encounter another person, you can know pretty much immediately. You can feel when they walk in the room if they're happy and excited, or if they're really mad, or you can look at somebody and know if they're feeling sad. And so often our physical body holds us and is this package for what our emotions are. And, you can notice somebody, if they just got a gift, or they're a salesperson, they just made a sale and they're just sort of snappy with the way they're walking and holding themselves really well. And somebody else, you see it if they get bad news. I mean, there's just this physical crushing that they can have. And so, from my own belief, I really feel that that's just an outward demonstration of what we are feeling inside. And that if we had the eyes to view our emotions and what this energy body actually is, and there are people who can actually see it, but there's just so much going on around us that I think that we forget that we are far more than just our physical bodies and just kind of our thoughts. We can, even if you have like say you go into a restaurant and you've got a snarky waiter and they just give you a look and you're like, jeepers, I hope they don't spit in my food because I know that guy doesn't like me. And then you can meet somebody else who is just sweet as pie and wonderful, and you're like, oh, that your meal feels special just because of the energy of that person who shared it with you. So I think for some people who think this energy stuff is maybe a little woo-woo, it's not. Just because we can't actually see it doesn't mean that it's not very real. And so, for the people who have experienced some of the emotion code and the release of the emotion code, and you come back and you can tell us about it, it's pretty darn amazing. So, and so I know Amber is working away here. We're actually going over time a little bit, so I hope everybody can stay with us for a couple of more minutes.
Well, I've cleared. So while you've been talking, I've cleared Kazia, and I cleared her disappointment. And then I worked on Anne and her feelings of unworthy. And now I'm finishing up Savannah as the last one so that we can clear her. So I'm almost done her. And then that would be our show for today. So I'm just almost done. I've done trapped. So there's trapped, hidden, absorbed, inherited, vibrational resonance. And maybe you want to talk about some of those feelings.
Yeah, so there's different ways that we can have our feelings. And so we can have an actual experience where we could essentially say it's our feeling that we have, but then we can also be around a person, again, like that snarky waiter, that you can leave the restaurant and you think, oh, no, I'm feeling snarky. And it's actually just an ability that we have of somehow intermingling with that person's energy. And so now we have absorbed their feeling. People can put off this vibrational resonance. And again, that's when we were talking before, somebody walks in a room, if they're in a good mood or a bad mood. Well, that's their vibration that they're sending out from themselves. And sometimes we can, kind of feel it and join in with it, or we can be resistant to it. There are things that we can inherit from our parents, or from past generations that they've inherited from their parents. And it can happen at any time. It could have been in an experience that your father had before he ever met your mother, or it could be an experience that your mom had while she was pregnant, or, during the whole birthing process. When they talk about inherited traits, it's not just the color of your hair and the color of your eyes that you can inherit. You inherit personality traits. And I think a lot of times what is described as a personality trait is oftentimes that energy trait that's just being passed along. So, all right. So Amber, are you getting any comments?
I've been getting lots, sorry.
Comments of some people that have that are responding to the.
Yeah, Eva said, thank you so very much, Holly. I felt movement in my crown chakra and heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Summer said she's listening to us partially, but she's also in a meeting. Sorry we missed you today, Summer. Eva would definitely be back to let us know. Anne says, thank you, how generous of you. And Kazia says, thank you so much. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We are so grateful that you showed up took this moment for you to help, release some of your stuff so that you can maybe go into this holiday season feeling a little lighter. We are back every Monday for the month of December to work on feelings of, whatever feeling towards the holiday is what we're going to be working on. So we look forward to seeing you next Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm also going live on Wednesday at 7 p.m. to do similar. I don't really have a topic on Wednesday evenings. I just go live, and whoever, needs support during that time, we go in. Sometimes we pull out the body code. Whatever comes up, we decide whether or not we're going motion code and body code, and we have a lot of fun. So come join me Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, we will see you next week at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time.
Here we go. Monday's there. So come back and join us next week. Hope you have a great week and hope you're feeling better.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.